Do you wanna build a spaceship? Assuming you haven't just left after hearing that, I'm going to go through how to build space science, a space platform and spaceships. Now step 1 is launching a space platform starter pack. And then you'll end up with this space platform hub. And then you'll be wondering, well, what do I do with it? Because it's not that well explained. So the first thing you want to do is find the space platform foundation and lay a load down just to give you some space to work. It places like concrete, so numpad plus and minus still work to make the area you're placing larger. And as you place these ghosts, it will auto-request the materials from the planet you're in orbit of, assuming your rocket silos are set to automatic requests. And if you mouse over the item, it will tell you the capacity of a rocket, i.e. this can launch 50 of these in one rocket. You're very likely to place a lot more than 50, so there's going to be quite a lot of launches to get this up there and ready for you to start building. Be aware of that and stockpile this stuff early. Now that we've got some space to build on, first thing to go down is the asteroid collectors, and these are going to grab the 3 different resources we're going to find in space: metallic, carbonic and oxide. Now if this platform is staying in Navi's orbit, there is no point overlapping them because there's not enough resources to grab. But if this is travelling, then it's a different story. Now asteroid collectors are one of the few things that get a massive benefit from quality. It's well worth putting quality modules in your assembly machine and making as many of these as you can. Now I've placed one of these as a rare, so there's going to be a separate request that it's going to try and bring up 10 of those. You can fit 10 of these collectors in a stack, so it's always going to need 10 available before it will launch them to you. However, that's a frustration, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set a custom limit. So I've just added it to the ship just like you would your personal logistics and set that custom number at the bottom, so it's now launching me 1. So to get all the asteroid chunks out of these collectors, I'm going to need inserters. I'm then going to put that onto a sushi belt. So named because it's a singular belt that goes round in a circle with multiple materials on it. You could filter the collectors to do individual resources, but that's a lot of stuff we're not going to be picking up, so that's pretty inefficient, so it's much easier to do it this way. Now as soon as I've got a piece of equipment up here that's unpowered, I've got my flashing symbol. However, on space platforms we don't actually need power poles, I just need a power source. Solar's pretty good around Navi, so I'm just going to slap down some panels because this platform will not use a lot of energy. So next thing we need to drop down some grinders so that we can turn these asteroid chunks into materials we can actually use. We're going to want 3 grinders, 1 for each resource type. Now the challenge of the grinder with the basic recipes is you've got a 20% chance for it to output exactly what you put in. There's a few different ways to handle this, I'm just going to go with filtered inserters. And once I've set the filters on the green inserters here, I'm just going to copy those onto the red and set them to blacklist instead. Here I'm just going to put the asteroid chunks straight back onto the sushi belt, and then I'm going to separate and take away the resources that I do want. Iron ore can go straight into an electric furnace to give us some iron plates. Now the first time you'll be doing this is to make space science. I'm going to stick down an assembler and set that recipe. Assuming this platform is going to stay around Navi's, its mass doesn't matter, so don't worry about it being tiny, you can make it as big as you want. Because I've got nearly 2,000 hours in Factorio, I'm going to make it messy and stupid, because that's just what we do. Quick copy paste to save time here. And then I'm going to need a belt to take the finished science packs back to the central hub, because that's the only way we can get them back down to Navi's where we need to use them. So that's space science cooking, but now we need to go back and work out the sushi belt. Because the asteroid collectors are not going to grab the same amount of each resource. And if we don't handle that, at some point our sushi belt is going to gridlock. We're going to have loads of one item, none of another, and then everything's going to come to a stop. So we need a system to fix that. And as you can see here, we could put an inserter facing out into space, but that's going to remove everything from the belt, so that wouldn't solve the problem. What you want to do is connect the inserter to belt, set it to read all contents and hold all. That means the inserter can now see how much of what item is on the belt. So here I'm setting it to the metallic chunk, and we can see there's already 24 of that item on the belt. So I'm just going to set it that the inserter is only enabled if there is more than 30. And I'm going to put 2 more down, 1 for the ice chunks and 1 for the carbon chunks. So you can see here we've got 30 iron chunks on the belt, and then the inserter throws off everything on the belt because we didn't set filters. Don't forget to set filters. So we're capturing resources, we're processing them into space science. The other thing we need to do is turn this into a spaceship. So for that we're going to need a thruster. I'm going to chuck down some more space platform just so we've got more space to build this and show you what we need, because we're going to need a little bit to keep this fueled and running. First thing I'm going to need is water, so we can use a chem lab to turn ice into water. Make sure you put that into a storage tank so that you've got a nice stockpile of it. Then we need fuel and oxidizer. Nice easy recipes, one is iron ore and water, the other is the carbon and water. So run your belts down, 2 chem labs, 2 more storage tanks, and connect it up to the thruster. That means this platform, if we wanted to, could now travel between the planets. However, when travelling we are going to come across asteroids a little bigger than the chunks we're currently picking up. We're going to need some kind of defence for that. And the best defence is always a good offence. And the easiest way to do that up here, let's turn our iron plates into yellow ammo, have a load of turrets, and make sure you've done your projectile speed and damage upgrades in your research. And to get this thing travelling, click on the central hub and top right add station. Then just like with the train we need to add a condition. Here I'm going to use request satisfied. Then I'll add Narvis as the return point with a condition of a minimum item count, which is going to be 1,000 iron plates. Otherwise the ship could leave with no ammo, which never ends well. Finally I'll set a request for metallurgic science packs, which the ship can pick up from Vulcanus. And it will wait there until it has as many as I've requested. Then return to Narvis. Make sure the cargo landing pad on Narvis has a request for the science too, so the ship will auto drop it to the surface. Then it can go back for more. And beware, when you set requests, they can only be fulfilled by the selected planet. It will default to Narvis for most items, but anything made on a specific planet, like railguns or sciences, will default to that planet. You can change this bottom left on the request. And there you have a rather poorly built, sloppy spaceship. But it does technically work. And hopefully that means you got all the information you need to build your own one, hopefully better. Thanks for watching and hope it was useful. Let me know in the comments if you want me to cover any other topics, or if you want me to go more in depth. Cheers.